I always feel good about things. I'm basically an optimist, and that we've had, and I've had setbacks in life personally, and our families have, and certainly the company has had its cycles of being up and down. I do think that publishing it has an optimistic future. I think it has a different future from the one I've experienced, and I used to sometimes give the analogy that when I started in publishing, to get published, it was like a pyramid. And for the writers and for the creative people involved in publishing, they basically had to go to New York at the top of the pyramid, and everything came down from there. There were university presses, etc., but nothing like there are today. The decentralization of the industry, I think, has engendered and created many more opportunities for writers. Um, in terms of Bess Press, we've gone through some of the same radical changes over the last few years, especially with our trade publishing program, where we sell to the general markets through trade bookstores, and we're still trying to come up with answers for that. Our educational side of the business has been weakened because budgets have been cut, but they still keep writing, and kids still keep going to school. So we look at libraries in particular, school libraries, public libraries, libraries on the mainland, classrooms here in Hawaii. And over the last 15 years, throughout Micronesia, we've traveled to American Samoa, the Marshall Islands, Guam, Saipan, and the unique interests of the people and the cultures and the history and the cuisine in all of those places is probably stronger than it is here, because they haven't had too much written or published specifically about them. And the markets are much smaller, much tighter, but the opportunities to create publications down there exist. So I look at the world and I think, well, I can't sell every book everywhere, but each book has its own shelf life, its own life, its own market. And if we can reach those markets successfully, then we'll continue to publish. I think the opportunity for collaboration with writers is going to change, and I think it isn't just sign the contract and we'll do everything for you. I think writers are more interested in self-publishing and being self-sufficient, and I think there's some really good opportunities to collaborate with authors. Even in today's paper, there was a story of a young woman from the mainland who, I think she was from Arizona, and wrote juvenile, adult titles and just put them online, and they became successful. And she was smart enough to realize that she didn't want to go into the print side of the business because of all the inherent risks and difficulties, and had a New York publisher pick up the rights to do that, and had it made into a movie, etc. So that type of collaboration, the poster child for self-publishing is Amanda Hawkins, I think, out at St. Paul, where she did the same thing several years ago, made millions herself, and interestingly enough, sold out to a New York publisher and made a lot more millions without any headaches at all. So I tend to be personally an optimist, and I think that publishing will stay around as long as there are stories to tell, recipes to share, history to be told. And if my personal experience with my own three children is any indication, I think there's nothing like sharing a book with a child. And yes, they can swipe the page themselves, and they can hear Dr. Seuss talk to them, but the personal involvement that's involved in talking to a child and having them listen to you and sit on your lap or hear your voice, the book still has that incredible presence of love and affection that can be shared.